Okay, so today's class we are going to focus on a very special method, in my humble opinion, the most important method that there is. However, before um, we get to that, let's build a chi field together. So just look straight forwards. You might like to look at your screen, but imagine you're looking through the screen. You don't see it. Looking through. Looking off into the distance. Eyes are seeing through everything in front of you. And then draw the vision back. So that means that the point of focus comes closer and closer. And the eyes naturally shut. And the vision has been drawn into the body. And with it, the awareness has been drawn into the body. So now you're aware inside. It's like you're looking inside the body. And it's a really nice place to be, and we don't spend enough time there. So now let's take some time to spend in the body. Let's take a little bit of time. This is what the universe wants you to do. It wants you to come back home. It'll continuously give you little hints and messages, and sometimes big messages to come home. Feel the head, the space of the head, and relax that space. Feel the space of the neck. Maybe you like to lift from the top of the head. Bring the chin in, and then the neck will feel free. Feel the shoulders. If you're lifting from above, then the shoulders can be relaxed. Feel them, move them a little if that helps. Just observe how they feel. Observe what changes when you give the instruction to relax. Observe bringing the 5 heart qualities to the shoulders. What changes if you say to your shoulders, I trust you, or open? What changes in the body just from taking the initiative to give instructions like that to your body? Observe the arms. Give them the gentle instruction to relax. Open and spacious. Relax the chest. And relax that space in your chest where the heart is, where the spiritual heart is, the shin. When that is open and relaxed, you feel your connection to the people around you and to nature. Relax the abdomen and lower back. Bring your awareness to that place. It is actually quite interesting to bring your awareness to any part of the body and just observe. Observe if the mind goes somewhere else, but just keep the awareness there. Do not lose awareness. Relaxing the hips. And you might see the theme here that we can be really playful and creative, that there is a lot of different ways we can do this. So we could think of the hips as bright and clear. We can connect to them with love. We can observe how just the thought of love changes the way the hips feel and the mind feels. And relax the legs. Slowly down the knees, to the knees, to the calves. The key is to observe without judgment when we're present in ourselves. There's no judgment. So I might notice that the chi flows better down one leg than the other. There's no judgment there. It's interesting. And I can have an element of control there, or putting in information, if you like. I can put in the thought, legs are clear and bright. I can say the ankles are clear and bright and open. And I know, because I've experienced it in my practice sometimes, that the soles of the feet open up and you're connected to the earth as if you have roots, that you are rooted into the earth. So I can give that thought to my soles and to my feet. And I can strengthen that thought with how I sit. I can really sink into the seat and relax my feet in the ground and feel the lower part of my body. So I feel strong like a tree. And my heart feels so open. Your heart feels so open because if you were a tree, wouldn't your heart be open to the rain, the sun, to nature? Because you are nature, you are part of it. Not just part of it, you are it. And so naturally, you'd be as open to it as if it was as if you were a young child and nature was your mum and dad. So feel how you are nature and feel your love and strength in yourself. And bring your awareness to your heart. We should never lose awareness of our heart. Feel what is there now. However it feels, just bring your awareness to it. If you can feel one of the heart qualities, that's good. Bring your awareness to the heart quality. If you can't, that's also fine, because we want to be very sincere and honest there. We don't want to make a judgment. There's no judgment. Observation can't judge. It can only observe. Feel the heart, how beautiful it feels. However it feels, it's probably more beautiful than you realize. Think of everyone in this group today. Think of the family members and friends that you have, that through this work, your relationship and understanding of one another will deepen. They all become, your relationship will be like the tree and how it feels to nature and the universe. There'll be no barriers anymore. You'll feel a pure connection with those you love. Feel your connection in your heart to the universe. And the universe might just be the universe and outside of you, the room, nature. And for some reason, I'm thinking of like the insects and the butterflies and beautiful things with wings that all have a consciousness, all have a life force. And then nature, the universe beyond that, We don't even know how far it goes or what it is. And the Tao, the pure form of consciousness that permeates and exists within everything. And our utmost respect to the Tao that we may never be able to put it into words or ever understand the endlessness of it or the depth of it, but we can become more and more integrated and unified with it and become more familiar with it and what it is. And the universe, of course, inside yourself. You are a universe. And like the universe itself, every cell, every atom of your being is dancing, is alive and passionate and full of life. Feel your body. Sometimes we talk about how the heart feels, but sometimes when the heart really feels the heart quality, you feel it in the toes, in every part of your body. Observe your breath, opening and closing with the breath of the universe. And we're going to draw it back now. I'm going to reach out to the sides and we're going to draw it round. Back to lower dantian. And if you like, you can open your eyes slowly for this bit, or you can keep them closed. That's totally fine. So this is just a beginning on how we could put it, the ultimate topic or the most important method. And the method is called Mingyuan, and it's our 9th method of Yuan Gong. And it has a practice in it, which is the core part of the practice, which is to observe yourself in every present moment. And we call that Jue Cha. And why this is the most important method? Well, in Mingyuan we have the word, we have another name for the Mingyuan for this method, and it is, I had to look it up again because it's quite wordy. The method that is the convergence of 10,000 methods. And that sounds kind of like, wow, but what you're going to notice is when I share the essence of this practice now, you're going to be like, if you've done any spiritual practice of any kind, followed any different teacher or any teachings, or you've done some Rinche, you'll be like, I know this, I've heard this bit, I know this bit, I know this bit, you know this bit. Because every essential teaching throughout history is taking us to a certain point, is taking us to a certain point. And I liken this very special state of awareness that Mingyuan tries to take us to as the door. It's like no matter where you start, if the methods are actually, let's say if the methods are working, then, because not all methods, I don't want to go there, but not all methods work or work, but if the methods are working, they will eventually take you to a place of pure awareness. Let's see if I can articulate that some more. Maybe I will give an example soon, but I'll just give a little more of the practical. So where to start? The true self has the quality already, your true self has the quality already of being pure awareness. It is one aspect of the true self. And I had an experience of the true self about a couple of years ago in a very pure state. And what hit me at the time, well, more later, was that previous to that experience, I had no idea of what the true self was. I literally had no idea. And now I only have a memory, I guess I have a memory and a sense of the true self, but not an absolute understanding, because I would be obviously enlightened, or I would be in the true self if I always experienced the true self. But the true self is totally different from who you think you are. Who you think you are would be, it would be like you could just pull who you thought you are off of yourself and throw it away. So and there's another being, but it's the part of ourselves that is always, it comes through all the time. Like it often, in my experience of the true self has come through at moments of crisis in my life, when I've literally, it's often come through in moments, turning points in my life, or crisis points when I've actually put myself in danger. So like when I met my partner and I was being slightly indecisive about, because it's quite like, oh, I quite like being single, this is nice, like I don't want to commit to it's like, that's the problem with making choices. And anyway, the mind is thinking one thing, and then the true self comes through and says, no, this is the reality, and it gives you very clear messages. And all the time it's trying to talk to you, but at the same time it has this infinite patience that you can't comprehend. So that you can't just go, oh, I don't know what to do now, ask the true self. Like you can eventually, but you've got to build a relationship and bring it to the surface. Well, Ming Yuan, or Jue Cha, is the method for bringing the true self to the surface. And what we want to do is we want to manifest a quality that your true self has. So your true self has as part of what it is, has the quality of pure awareness. So by being in awareness, then that helps create it's like creating a garden for the true self. So you might like to know what we should be aware of. First of all, a lot of times we're more aware of the external. We're more aware of the awareness is out there. It's focusing on, are my lights sitting right? Is my hair okay? Um, what's that noise outside? Uh, what is that person thinking of me right now? It's all those patterns that we do in every class. That's how awareness is going out. But what often gets neglected is the awareness of the internal. So I could just be aware of my physical body. I could become aware of, oh, I'm holding tension in my toes. I'll let that go. Or I'm sitting a bit like, a little bit tight. I can become aware of those little things. But I want to do that. A key here is I want to do it without judgment. I want to do it in the most, and we'll get into why soon, but I want to do it in the most pure way possible. I want to be the observer. I want to observe the body, but I don't want to become the body. Now, and I'll explain what I mean with that soon as well. Now, other things I could observe is the flow of chi through my body. So another element of why this method is the kind of ultimate method of all other methods is if you do any chi practices, you'll become aware of the significance and the meaning of these practices even more once you become aware of the need to observe yourself in every moment, because you'll start to be able to observe and notice chi. So you'll notice, I don't know, you could notice dantian breathing. You could actually kind of observe an aspect of chi, and you could bring your awareness to that aspect of chi and just keep your awareness on that place. So there is, even though it's pure awareness, there's a little bit of playfulness and creativity on how you use that awareness. Or you could start to observe the consciousness. Now, this becomes quite interesting because, for example, say so I was looking at buying a camera the other day, and I'm still thinking of buying it, but then, like, what happens is the mind gets excited and it starts thinking about this thing, and the heart starts wanting, and there's all these different patterns and feelings that get triggered by these external events, whatever it is. But what you try to do with the observation is you don't lose yourself to the thing. So I don't lose myself to this thought of the camera, the emotions around the camera. I don't become that thought. I become the observer, and I observe that thought and any thought processes that are going on, but I observe them without judgment. So I'm just like, I'm observing. And this is but that's tricky to explain. Well, it's not tricky to explain, but I'm not sure how some people might get it quickly or it might take longer. If you keep observing, you become aware that you are the observer, not the observed. You become aware that when you're observing the thought of, I want this camera, that you can actually activate the state of observing. It's interesting that I say from here, but it's actually not necessarily from the heart. Or it might be felt differently at different times. You're not the thoughts that you get lost in. So they still exist. but you are the observer itself. And more you can observe more subtle things. So you could observe, for example, if you have a really good practice or a really good class where you experience one of the heart states, you can observe that quality of the heart. And I liken it, actually I liken the whole of Mingyuan to like carrying something really precious and really beautiful. So if I am lucky and I start to experience that quality of the heart, maybe when I'm listening to one of Yuan's lectures, I hold that so gently, like I'm kind of carrying it, and I keep my awareness on it throughout the day, and I actually find that the awareness of that heart quality deepens as I observe it. But you can see now, can't you? Like you understand now how mercurial those beautiful sensations are in this practice. You know, you have one moment, you have this, oh my God, I'm feeling amazing. And then the next moment you're thinking, who shall I tell? And then it's gone. So it's that kind of, to observe the good state, whatever it is, maybe it's in the heart or maybe it's a feeling in your body, and to watch it in a way that there's no kind of judgment of, the judgment could be, I'm great, or this won't last, or if you're observing, you could be observing a good quality, or you could be observing, maybe you're observing your sadness, and then you might have judgments layered on top of that. You might be thinking, I'm so useless for feeling sad, or I don't want to feel this, I'll bury it away. And so there's all these unnecessary judgments that are part of the that are not the observer. So anytime a judgment comes, so anytime a judgment comes up, this gets kind of quite interesting. It's like a hall of mirrors. Step back and observe the judgment so that you're continually the observer and you're not getting entangled. So the Jue Cha itself, now I need to explain that this method was taught over 2 weeks, and it was part of lectures about the true self and lectures about enlightenment as well, and some really good lectures, some of the first talks from Dorian Nobuto as well. And so we're really just sort of touching on some of the basics. But the Jue Cha, I'll give you the meaning of Jue and Cha actually, and then I'll just say what I was going to say. Okay. In ancient texts, Jue often means teaching, training. When used in context, it often means waking, seeing, understanding, knowing, insight, initiative. And Cha is like a bright light is shining on everything, so all the details can be seen clearly. It is also like a mirror reflecting everything in front of it exactly as it is. So it's kind of like a special state in which you see everything. Now what I wanted to say was the Jue Cha is actually just the first part of the Mingyuan method. And the later parts of the Mingyuan method can't really be taught. They come out of this pure awareness, but they come out from all the other practice we've done before, and especially that Ling Yuan and the Tong Yuan that we've done. They all have a lot to do with this. What happens is that you're in this special state of seeing everything, and because you're observing it in such a pure state, you see everything and you change it all in the moment. That's the best way to put it. So for me, a pattern might emerge, but my consciousness will see it and transform it and change it all in the moment. In Chan Buddhism, it's really quite close to, in some ways, that kind of Chan Buddhist approach of, or Zen, the kind of experiencing realization and awakening, just holding a teaching or a thought in the mind and just experiencing an awakening. So in Ling Yuan and Tong Yuan, we're trying to experience those awakenings within a practice. So we're trying to bring questions to Shen and get answers. In Ming Yuan, we're trying to keep Shen there all the time, all throughout the day. Now, this is probably the last thing I want to say, is that it sounds really simple, and then you have this experience of, like, you actually, at some point, you will have an experience of, I'll put it this way, when the time is right, you will have the experience of Jue Cha. You'll have an experience of observing the self and being in the present. For each person, the amount of work that you need to do to get to that moment will be different. And for me, I think I get to the moment and then I might have a stretch of it, or maybe it's on retreat, or maybe there's a good chi field at the time. And I have this thought, oh, it's so easy. But I can see Ruth in the background laughing, because it's not, because then I have a whole day or a half a day where I completely forget to even practice it, even though I've told myself this is my main practice. I'll literally, a whole day will go. And so you set yourself these games. You might say, I might go, when I walk from my room down to the bus, maybe I'll practice Jue Cha. Or maybe every time I feel my hand reaching for my phone, that's a reminder to me to practice Jue Cha. So everyone can be different, and I really would encourage creativity on how you approach that. So I'm excited. So that's the class. Let's just take a moment to draw the chi field back in before the class starts, before we start the conversation. Just sitting comfortably. You might like to close your eyes. So, to call it drawing the chi field back, activate your awareness. Become aware of your body. Become aware of your heart. Any emotions or feelings or thoughts or patterns that emerge. Bring that awareness here to this class. It's like your best friend. Like if you're watching a sunset and you're like, oh man, I wish so-and-so was here to see that. I wish my awareness was here to experience this. I want it to be here. And just feel that state. And I'm going to stop the recording now, and we're going to open up to a conversation.
Can I say something?
I was just about to ask. Sorry about that.
Maybe before we stop the recording.
Do you want to say something before we stop the recording?
Stop the recording? Yes. Don't stop the recording.
Gotcha. You're pinned? Go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Now, while you were talking, I was remembering how when I did the training a few years ago to Mingyuan and Jue Cha, how I just did not quite understand it. And I just wanted to say this because it might happen that some of you are feeling similar, you know, are feeling like, I don't quite really understand how am I supposed to do this? Just observing myself in every moment. How is that possible, you know? For me, it was like, but how am I going to observe myself why I'm teaching? Because when I'm teaching, and I'm not just talking about Qigong, let's say when I teach Pilates, I'm totally absorbed by teaching. Like I'm focused on the people and on what I'm saying and what I'm instructing. And it was just for me, how am I going to be able to do that and at the same time observe myself? It just was a big, big question mark for me. And I just, you know, Jue Cha didn't really happen much for me for a long time. And so what it really felt important to me to add to all of this is like, you know, Jay said Lingyuan and Tongyuan is kind of the base. And I want to really, really point that out too, again, because ever since, you know, I'm now for a year since I have created a life where I have much more time, I have done lots of Lingyuan and Tongyuan. And that made the change for me to, not just that, I'll come to a few other things, which made me starting to understand what this method Mingyuan is about. Like I could understand it with my mind, but I just couldn't understand how that will be possible to do. And there is another thing which is really, really important to truly be able to do Mingyuan, and that is the state. And the amazing thing is we have been working on that state with Yuan Tse now since April or since May. The calm or relaxed first, and the calm, natural, integrated, unified, harmonious. So that state is very important to be able to practice Mingyuan. So we have to work on that state too. And then one thing which really, really stood out for me, and that came with all my practice of Lingyuan and Tongyuan, is that heart Shin-Yi connection, unification. That is a big, big key too for this method and for really starting to be able to do that observing in possibly every present moment. And I really, with the practice, it just happened with the practice, was practicing a lot, I started to really feel that unification. I started to feel that place where I can be when I can listen to my Shin, when I can ask my Shin whatever I want to ask it. And I think when we start with practice to get really to that place, that also lifts that awareness up, that being aware. So I'm still not aware in every present moment, which would be the ultimate goal. of Mingyuan, of Jue Cha. But I am much more aware of myself when I'm out of a good state. And I think that's the big starting point too, of just starting to see ourselves, observe ourselves when we lose our state because a pattern is playing out. And I'm not very often able still to transform a pattern in the moment. I don't think I have done that at all myself. But what I can, with that observation I'm able to do now, I can go and do a Lingyuan on it. And that's very, very powerful. So I see, oh, wow, what's going on here now? Okay, I feel this, and I say this, and I can't change it. And I know, observe, I know this is not quite right, but it's okay. I'll see it. And then I go, when I have time to do a Lingyuan, I go back to that and think, okay, what happened there? I start to get that, I do that heart-mind connection consciously, get into that state, and then start the Lingyuan. And I can imagine when I get even more practice of that then maybe that unification state of heart and Shin Yi can be there in that moment when it happens. When that pattern comes out and I lose my state and I'm there then in that unified state, then I can transform it in the moment. That's what I think will happen, but I'm not there yet. So it's all about practice. Unless, and even Norberto and Dory, they have practiced a lot the whole life. And for them, they got that bing moment when then suddenly things happened. I have a feeling for me that I might not have a ping moment. I have the feeling that I might just do that step-by-step thing, which is another way of growing, instead of finding that explosion moment. I can observe that, how that has happened in my life, but especially in the past year, since I have done practice. I can see the different steps I have been able to go. And now I see, okay, I can be aware very consciously of when I lose my state. That's an amazing step, and I need to keep practicing, and then I will be able to be aware of that state and transform it in the moment. And then there is the next step, and so on. So that was just like feeling for me to tell you, like, that doesn't mean don't do any Mingyuan now, don't try to do the observing or the awareness, but you will observe how that becomes easier and changes with you practicing, especially Lingyuan and Tongyuan, and your state. And your state can improve with all the chi work we do too, So it really comes down, like Jay said, to practicing all levels. And obviously it's easier when you create a life where you have a lot of time to do that. When you don't have that, then it's sometimes you have to decide, what am I doing today, because I have only an hour, and that's fine too. Sorry, there's a bit of noise out there. So I'm going to stop. Thank you for listening, and Jay, I'll get back to you.
Perfect. That was perfect. Yeah. Yep. I'm happy with all that. And let's must be a good thing if my mind's gone blank. It must mean that I've finished talking. So I'll just stop the recording, and we'll get into the conversation. Okay, so we'll just do a wee, I'm just going to guide us through a meditation at the end here. I loved what Sabina said at the start about how it was challenging teaching classes, especially as being a Pilates teacher and keeping the Jue Cha. My hardest situation has always been the magic shows that I do, because they're very fast paced and you're thinking in the moment, and you have an awareness, but your awareness is very like focused on the audience and what their responses are, and where their for magic as well, where their eyes are and where their attention is, and how well they're responding to certain kind of jokes. So if they respond a certain way, then you follow with that. So you're hyper aware of the external, and suddenly, like, whoa, to bring that to an internal is much harder. But I find these classes, or the Ren Shi teaching that I do, that's interesting, because that's where I'm bringing in elements of the teacher and the entertainer in myself, and the person who has to know what buttons to push on Zoom. And I have to have the awareness, that's, so I have to teach, and I have to think about what words I'm using for you to get the message across in a clear way. But I also have to honor myself, and I like that. I like that. Just saying that now, it's like, it's kind of an act of self-love or something. And the other thing I want to just maybe add, now that I mentioned the love, is that there's these qualities, that the awareness, pure awareness, and being in the present moment is a quality of the true self. Being relaxed, being calm, being natural, being unified. Sabina mentioned unified. Those are all qualities of the true self. So as you you can use any of those to kind of get yourself closer to that place, and you can observe from that unified state if you're capable. And I really wanted to mention this because it got brought up so much during the class itself, during the discussion, was those heart qualities. And Nathan said how those, like, when you observe, the heart qualities still feel like they're a part of the observer, or they still feel like they're a part of you, or part of the true self. So you can observe with them, and you can invite them into the observation. And saying that it's all stepping stones. This is the ultimate practice, but you start from exactly where you are, and you just do it as best you can. So now we just sit comfortably, and we slowly draw the vision back, and close the eyes. And become aware of the awareness. Become aware of the self. Say to yourself, what if everything was under control? What if it was all under control and unfolding just as it should be? How relaxed could you be right now? And feel that relaxation, and feel how you deserve that relaxation. You deserve to feel comfortable. You deserve to feel a sense of relaxation and security. You deserve not to feel worried. Feel the observer that's not worried. Observe yourself. Observe the body. How does it feel now? Observe your toes, your fingers. Observe your heart. And feel the trust in your heart. Trust that life is as it should be, that you are here right now in this present moment. Trust that it is beautiful, that you can continue to deepen your experience of these methods and this practice. And just for 5 minutes, let's just sit and observe the breath. Without any judgment. Sometimes my practice is just to sit comfortably in a quiet place and observe myself. Sometimes I notice my awareness go out to the wind. I notice that. I bring it back to the body. I just observe. It's very playful. It's not like you're telling yourself that you have to do a practice or this is the practice. It's like a holiday. Like you worked hard all year, you saved up some money for somewhere really beautiful. Everything is under control. And it feels good to just be present with yourself. Bring your awareness to any part, any aspect of yourself you would like to bring it to. If you would like, so many different ways you could do this, but if you would like, you can invite those heart qualities in with the observation, so you're observing with the heart as well. You're observing, you're calm and relaxed, joyful and open, pure state of observation. And if you notice any feelings or emotions that might emerge, bring your observation and your heart to those feelings. Lots of love and compassion. Learning to trust and go into the body and into your being and feel inside yourself, accepting, opening to it all fully, becoming aware of it. You are just the awareness. Become aware of that part that has never left you. That deepest yearning in your heart for understanding, for love, for safety, for security. It's always there to take you through the difficult times. Become aware of the trust in your heart that you can grow. You can grow. You can not just grow spiritually, but you can deal with all those challenges. Maybe you do have to be in front of a big group of people, or there could be all sorts of challenges, but trust in yourself that you have the wisdom and the strength to deal with them. Your body is beautiful, clear and open and bright. The chi field is opening. The most beautiful, most powerful, most infinite healing bright white chi is flowing into your body. There's a sense of openness and freedom. You are freedom. You are not tethered to your patterns. They are like a joke. You are freedom. You are feeling free and beautiful. Filled with love and compassion for every part of your being, every cell of your being, for your heart, for the universe. Draw the chi out to the sides and slowly draw it back around. Rub your hands. Rub your feet and tongue. Rub your forehead. Rub your temples. Rub your eyes. Rub the sides of the nose. Whole face. Comb from the front to the back of the head. Tap the top and the back of the head. Tap the ears. Rub the ears. Pull the lobes. Open the eyes. And thank you, everyone.